People have always perceived learning a foreign language as a faster ticket to get your visa approved.
True.
Do you see that with this government step change of introducing this policy,
Right.
will it change the perception of the general public?
Now, if you see, it is a very career driven wave which has come in India. But if we incorporate these languages at the early age in the school itself, the student is getting ready and the base is getting ready right from the school. So once he or she step out of the school, they're already ready to work or get some good scholarship in the university, which is abroad.
And I'm talking about Indian parents specifically. What are some misconceptions that they have which drives their decision making or which drives their conversation with you?
The myth number one is you need a special brain to learn a language. That is not true at all. Myth number two is these are the languages only for the very rich and high profile jobs. No, not true at all. The third one is you have to start at very early stage as a child. No, not at all. You are not too old, but yes, you have too much doubts about it, that's for sure. You can start any time at any age.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Speak Orange Academy podcast. In the last episode, we spoke about why did she rather decide to, get into language and language coaching. What is the industry all about? What is the demand? What is the government doing? And all of that. Today onwards, and in the next series of coming up episodes, we're going to be speaking about technical information about the domain as such. What are the professions that are coming up? What are the language requirements for each of these professions? We will also talk in depth about migration. Why is it happening? Where is it going? What's the future? We'll also speak about why the Indian education system has not been able to inculcate linguists into curriculum and why is it happening now. And at the center of all of that is the new education policy, which was launched in 2020. So, in the upcoming episodes, we'll start getting into technical details and, elaborate and discuss more on languages, the future of languages, foreign languages specifically in India and for Indians. And of course, what is in it for you and me and us. Let's go.
Thank you, sir, for having me here.
Yes, so let's talk about NEP 2020.
Yes.
Number one, if you could just touch upon what is it?
Correct.
What does it outline for students?
Right.
Number two, how is it changing the entire structure of the curriculum at an education level, at a school or a college level? Third, and most importantly, what role has that policy played in efficiently promoting or motivating schools and students to get into foreign language learning?
Correct. So it is an insightful, question which you have asked. When it comes to NEP 2020, like National Education Policy, this is the first time any national policy has clearly offering multilingualism in schools and colleges, especially in school, I would say. So what it had done, it had given a program called three language program in school. So what does it mean? So initially there was a foreign language which was only English. So career path was actually happening in and around English. Now that has been taken over by three language program. So you can have three language as a choice. You can take a choice of foreign languages of learning. So it has introduced. So it like national education policy has given this chance to the schools to incorporate these languages in their curriculum. So what happens when they incorporate this? So most of the schools have realized the importance of these languages because if you see every school, when they incorporate these languages, they actually make student future ready. Now
Correct.
even parents have realized the importance of global languages in their curriculum because it also increases your employability in the future. So that's how NEP has given a lot of opportunities for schools to incorporate these languages not only for the higher grades, also for the lower grades, starting from standard 1, 2, 3. And most of the languages which are learned or offered in schools are German, French, Spanish, and Japanese now because of the availability of the trainers. Many of the trainers which are available easily to teach these languages like French, German, Japanese, and Spanish. The interesting part is here now. Initially, these languages were taught in only so called elite schools. But now you can see it is being incorporated in the curriculum of tier 2 and tier 3 schools as well.
Oh, nice.
So if you can see, there is a clear demand of global languages all over, all over country, which is starting from school level itself, so that we prepare our students or our kids for the future.
Correct. Now, I'm just going back to one of a point that we spoke in the previous episode, Darshana,
Right.
and I think one of the most prominent pain area of our country for the past 10 odd years,
Right.
talent drain,
Correct.
brain drain, right?
Right.
Everybody wants to go abroad.
Right.
Now, new education policy, of course, has
Right.
inculcated by law,
Right.
inculcated foreign languages into curriculum.
Right.
Right? People perceive it, or people have always perceived learning a foreign language as a faster ticket to get your visa approved.
True.
Right.
Yes.
Do you see that with this government step change of introducing this policy,
Right.
do you see that will it change the perception of the general public, or do you feel that more and more students will now benefit or enroll themselves for foreign language learning just so that they can jump ahead of the line and get out of the country faster?
Yes, overall, if you see, initially it was, many of them only used to learn because they are fascinated by the language, as you clearly mentioned, or for some purpose, right? Now, if you see, it is a very career driven way which has come in India now. So, even the parents who are working parents, they also know the importance of these languages, right? So, if you see in school, because if it is by law, it is compulsory, right? So you have to give a choice. But there were some schools which were offering such kind of global language curriculum or extra curriculum for their students. So youth or the kids are the future of our country. So if you see, there are different purposes one can learn, right? So I always say there is sometime there is a passion, sometime there is a profession, or sometime there is a purpose of learning a language. But if we incorporate these languages at the early age in the school itself, the student is getting ready and the base is getting ready right from the school. So once he or she step out of the school, they're already ready to work or get some good scholarship in the university, which is abroad, right?
Correct.
So now it is not limited now only for the passion or as, the complementary to your career. People are choosing it as a career
Correct.
because both the parents are working and they also know the importance of adding this skill to their resume. It is not only for the resume, but as a skill to go abroad or get a ticket to any other country. So that is something which comes as a product of learning language. But consciously, if you are learning it, it is definitely going to give you the competitive edge, which I've already spoken earlier as well. But there is a career-driven way which I can see here, which is incorporated by the parents and also by the schools and by with NEP now, which is coming in. So that is good thing which you can see, and it is going to have a tremendous impact for the students who are going to be new professionals in the coming future of our country. So definitely it is going to be one of the best game changer for our country.
So earlier it used to be students
Yeah.
who would look at what language will get them how many numbers or
Right.
whatever is in demand in the country that they're applying for. They would tell the parents. Parents would get them into the classes. Do you see that paradigm changing now? Do you see more and more parents pushing their students to learn foreign languages? Do you see that trend happening now?
Yes, Of course, I can see that because normally, as I just now mentioned, I normally see it as a language love triangle, which can come from either from your parents or from yourself or through the schools or institutes you are, studying in. So it is like example, if you're passionate about learning a language, ultimately is going to help you in the future.
Right.
So then it is like it excites you to learn new language, then it's your passion, right? Uh, if you're learning a language for your profession and it aligns with your profession, then it is a profession purpose you are learning, right? And third one is like if you want to, migrate or get a scholarship from any other university, then it is a purpose. So, but if you see, having said that, this comes from a person who wants to learn a language. It can be a passion, it can be a profession or purpose, and that purpose can be driven by your school, by yourself, or by the parents. So if you see, these are the three pillars. Right now, if you see, the three pillars are working majorly: parents, school, and the students. This is a triangle, which works effectively when you talk about, how it is getting driven, this language learning. So these are the three pillars actually. They're interrelated. It's a triangle actually. So this is self driven by schools, driven by parents.
What steps are the schools taking to promote? Okay, so let me ask you in a different way. As you mentioned earlier, as much as we don't want to say this, but foreign language was always promoted as part of an elite club of schools, which was a hidden message that you want to come to our school, we are offering you foreign languages, you need to have deeper pockets, more fees for whatever said and done, right?
Correct.
Now this has become mainstream.
Right.
So, what is happening in the entire school spectrum? How are schools positioning themselves? Are they competing with each other basis, how many foreign languages can they teach? Or are they actually working at a much deeper level in training their students on these foreign languages with as much depth as they train them on English, Hindi, Sanskrit, or a regional language?
So now, when you're talking about how the schools are taking the steps towards, incorporating global languages in their curriculum, so there are two factors now. One is curriculum, which is guided by the board, right? So they have to follow that. And when it comes to extra curriculum, so many of the schools principal or directors, because of this, particular environment which we are right now in, they have also realized the importance of inculcating this kind of programs in their school as well.
Right.
So they are actually getting in touch with the institutes who provide such kind of programs. So first of all, if I have someone who can take care of this kind of programs in my school, it becomes easy for any director or a principal to launch this, programs in their school. So they are taking steps towards it, but it is provided that there is someone who can take care of it, who has, we say savoir-faire of that particular, industry. So example, as Speak Orange Academy also is associated with many school, ICSE board schools, CBSE board school, where we have contacted the directors and the principal and put this idea forward how we can use your remedial period for extra curriculum activities and incorporate language learning, which will prepare them for the international certification exams and the certificates. So now, if directors or the principal do not have someone who can let them know how it is going to help them and how they can take care of this particular program, then they will be able to incorporate it. So as we keep on saying that, the talent hunt is something we have to really focus on. If I have the right talent, right trainers with me as a academy, then it is easy for me as a founder of Speak Orange Academy to incorporate this kind of programs in the schools. So schools are taking the initiative, but they need some kind of support from the institutes where they can take care of, A to Z, even completion of the syllabus, training the students. So if it is that, I think there is a rising demand of such kind of programs in schools as well.
So I want to talk about parents' involvement or parents' role parents are playing in all of this shift that's happening. But before that, when we talk about schools, right? As you mentioned, we are associated with a lot of schools,
Right.
and we drive end-to-end solution for them when it comes to foreign language learning for their students, right? A very paramount element there is the involvement of a trainer, right? And that also comes with its own, pros and cons, and tweaks and whatnot. How are we solving that? What are you doing in that front? What are the who are the trainers that are going to the schools and coaching the students? And how are students, parents, and schools responding to it?
Okay, fine. So when it comes to getting the right trainer for teaching these languages in the school, it completely depends on the qualification of that trainer. Means whether they have done MA in that, or they have done PhD in that, or they have taken some kind of training from the institutes, and they have completed some levels, because there are different levels. Right now, we are focusing on French and German language in schools. So if they are B2 certified or C1 certified, and they have experience of 4 to 5 years, not only teaching the curriculum syllabus, but also international certification syllabus, we actually screen their resume and get them on the board. Now only getting them on the board is not important. That is not only parameter, but it comes to next step, that is training them, train the trainer programs which we have. So it's not just they already know how the language is, how to teach the language, but there are different parameters in schools. The dynamics of the schools are different. Every school it has a culture, different culture. So getting set in that culture, training the trainer for that particular culture, the time zone, like the time which we get for teaching the students, how effective we can become within 40 minutes of time. So when we have a 40 minutes of time of remedial period, it becomes really challenging how we are going to teach them in that 40 minutes. So 40 minutes, not only 40 minutes we get, exactly. 5 minutes they come and settle down. 5 minutes, before they start packing up their bags. So we have if productive 30 minutes. So how effective we can make it? So what kind of activity, fun element we can put in that? So we train the trainer, you know, so you have the knowledge. Now, how to impart that knowledge with the training and the time which we have. So we help them to actually execute it at that level. So we train the trainers also at different, activities how we can, take in the school. What kind of fun element you can put into school, how we can motivate the students, how we can expect them to be interactive in the school. So these are the different parameters we have to teach or the train the trainer. So it is a big what you can say vertical in Speak Orange Academy, where we train the trainers to take the classes or to conduct the classes effectively, whether it is online or offline.
Now, let's talk about parents.
Right.
They play a very important role in this whole process.
Right.
So, what are some misconceptions that they have? And I'm talking about Indian parents specifically. What are some misconceptions that they have? What is some uh, half knowledge that they have,
Uh-huh.
which drives their decision making or which drives their conversation with you?
Correct. So there are many myths, right, about learning a foreign language, but few of them are very legendary. So let me burst few of them here. So the myth number one is you need a special brain to learn a language. That is not true at all, because every one of us has a language brain, because we are speaking in our mother tongue, right? Or we in India we speak more than 3 languages as a person also, right? So one person at least will be speaking one language. So every human being has a language. So it is not about your brain, it is about your consistency and not about genetics. Okay. That's why parents normally come up with this, oh, whether she or he will be able to do it or not. So normally I tell them this. Myth number two is, as you have just mentioned earlier, that these are the languages only for the very rich and high profile jobs. No, not true at all. If any employee or any person who is learning a language and he's a bilingual. So any bilingual employee can earn 5 to 20% hike in his salary. Even in mainstream jobs like industries like retail, hospitality, or tech, these are the very common ones, right? Still, you will have that kind of salary hike after learning this. So it is not necessary that this is only meant for high profile jobs. So that is something one meets, even parents and the learner also have it. The third one is you have to start at very early stage as a child. No, not at all. You are not too old, but yes, you have too much doubts about it. That's for sure. In neuroscience, there is one term called neuroplasticity. So, what does it do? So, it helps you to learn. It has the ability. Our brain has the ability to learn and make new connection at any age, at any time. So, brain does not loses its ability to learn, but it actually loses curiosity to learn new things, but only if we let it. So I always tell my learner, you're not too old to learn. You can start any time at any age. Even parents comes to us and say that okay, she's now in 10th grade or ninth grade. Is it too late to start the language? No, it is not too late to start the language, because if you are curious about it, you will definitely learn the language. The parents come with different kind of misconceptions, and lot of information is available. So when you are not from that particular industry, and if you're not expert, you will not tend to have a lot of correct information about it. So parent will have such kind of meets, and they will come to us with lot of information which they have, and then we try to burst it, and then tell them you can start anytime for your child or for yourself as well.
There's one more prominent question that you must be getting a lot: online and offline coaching. Somehow, we as humans, we are programmed that online is equal to boring or formality. Or, usme kuch nahi mil.
Right.
How do you handle that? See, because as a business owner, also, right, you have to cater to all the customers. Not all the customers are at the same place at the same time, which means online is a big support system. But the customers have a barrier that online is equal to no learning. How do you handle that?
Honestly speaking, online learning has democratized access. So the student in Pune can learn language, Japanese language for that matter, from the native speaker who is in Tokyo. And it is possible only through online, right? So in case if I do not have a trainer in that particular vicinity, example, rural part of India, and that particular student wants to learn, my trainer sitting in Delhi can also teach that particular student. So if you see, accessibility has been a superpower when it comes to the online learning. Okay, so online learning also means that you can learn anything, anytime, anywhere, right? And then it is so now. What I feel, the secret sauce is not only the platform; it is also the pedagogy. So, how your courses are designed, how they are structured, whether it is interactive or not, whether it is activity and fun based or not. So, that makes a lot of difference. So, if you have a trainer who is really trained for that particular course, so your online experience also would be as equal as your classroom experience, which is offline. So, we have many success stories who many success stories where our students have learned online and still learning online and actually thriving in their career or in their in their line of business or line of profession. So it is just, again, I would say it is again a myth, because there is one research also says that blended method of learning, whether it is online or offline, will always be effective, and high retention will happen when you actually have a blended learning. Blended learning means how well your course is structured, how well your trainer is trained to train the students. So it's a blending of all these, ingredients will make your experience better. So it is also a myth, I would say. More important, the most important is how your course is structured and who is actually teaching.
Correct. So a little earlier you mentioned that there are professions where professionals have been able to get anywhere between 5 to 20% of
Right.
hike in their remuneration.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Let's talk about it. What are those professions? What is the future? Like, which are the new professions that you see will eventually start asking for a foreign language skill? What a professional must do to at least achieve some of those goals?
Correct. So it is $1 million question because it is going to make you earn a lot of money,
Money, correct.
eventually.
Correct.
Okay. So we have a lot of engineerings like mechanical engineering engineers who are learning German because they want to work in automotive giants. So if you are really interested in automotive industry, start learning German language. So there are, like, when you are kids, you are not able to actually judge which kind of profession you are going to get into, but the students of colleges or the professional who now want to change their career or enhance their career, they normally know what kind of profession they want to go in. So German language is learned by most of the engineers because they see a lot of opportunities in automotive industries. Now, having said that, Japanese traders, investors are coming in a huge way in India,
Correct. Yes.
right? So even the automobile industry, AI for that matter, robotics industry coming in a big way. So people or the students or the learner who is really interested in this kind of industries like AI, automation, or even the robotics, they should start learning Jap. We have a lot of even nurses or the healthcare workers who started learning Japanese, spoken German, and French because most of these countries have a rising demand for nurses and the professionals. So these professions are also actually are now in demand. So you should start learning languages like Japanese, French, and German. I would also mention the flight attendants or the flight crews who wants to communicate well with their clients or the passengers. They also learn French, German, Spanish, and Italian. Yes. And if it is very specific also to the airlines as well. So if you have a Japanese airlines, then they actually learn Japanese language, right? So even the people who are working in air industry should go for all these languages, especially French, German, Spanish, Italian, and Japanese. These are the languages. And let's come to the scholarship for the students. So many students started mastering the languages like French, German, Japanese to get the scholarship from these universities. So if you see, not only the professional who should look for learning new languages, but the students also who wants to go for a higher studies and grab a good scholarship from the university or even get the admission in good universities all over the world. These are the languages they should start learning right now. So it is going to, because nurses, healthcare workers, flight attendants, hotel management students or hotel professional, IT industries, even robotics, AI is going to have a huge demand. It's already started, and it is going to have a big future in the coming future. So these are the industries now they should focus on. Another thing I would like to mention here is, in case if you want to be an entrepreneur, it can be also a very good, business opportunity for you. Yes, because all these people who are going to learn, where they will go? They will come to the trainers, right, to learn. So if you want to become an entrepreneur also, start having your own academy or start becoming one of that trainer to train the students, the upcoming learners. So you can also start earning with this. So whether you want to enhance your career, learn a language. You want to grab a good scholarship, learn a language. You want to become a business owner and earn more, learn a language. That's how it is.
So the future seems pretty bright.
True.
One of the biggest, another myth that is maybe creating, and I'm sure it is creating a lot of hindrance in people's perspective, is the cost of learning a foreign language. Because for them, see, Hindi, English, and our mother tongue, whatever it is, comes easy to us because it's available in abundant.
Right.
And as you said, the brain has not lost its ability. We have gone into a comfort zone ke chhodna yaar kaun karega.
Karega.
It's too much of a
Yeah,
hard
right,
work,
right,
too
right,
much of
right.
focus.
Right.
And the more time you spend, eventually, you start working on those numbers. It's going to cost me this much of time, this much of money, this much of effort, all of that, right? So let's talk about that. There are different levels. We spoke in the last episode. There are different levels of learning a language. But let's just put first level of each of these languages common. Let's put the first level into a framework. Tentatively, how much time, how many hours in a week or in a day one must dedicate to cross level 1. Commercials are going to be different based on the language, so we'll not
Right.
talk about that.
Correct.
But what is the overall effort that one has to give in to cross that level 1?
Correct. So, when we talk about this level and completion and the duration of this level, according to Foreign Service Institute, if you want to master a language, it takes 600 to 750 hours of training. And that takes 1 to 2 years of consistent effort or studies. Okay. However, the magic is here. In case if you want to hold a day-to-day life conversation, which comes with the basic level, which can come around like 6 months to 1 year's time. Okay. But that completely depends on what is your purpose of learning a language. So, example, if I want to converse with my international clients, I am in IT industry and my profile demands, writing emails, understanding their conversations, and also giving presentation in that particular language, you must have higher levels. So that would take you 1 to 2 years of time, right? So that duration will increase. But as I told you right now, that if you want to hold a day-to-day life conversation, it will take 6 months of time to have a basic conversation. So basic levels would take not more than 6 months for you to start conversing in simple sentences. So that is going to be there. But if you have a consistent efforts, because consistency is a superpower here.
Correct.
Because if you put in your effort, so if you commit to have 15 minutes every day to practice these languages, your fluency will start hitting within 6 months of time for the basic sentences. So you start learning that, that way. So it completely depends on what is your purpose of learning of that particular language. So duration is like if somebody says that within 1 month I have to learn, so it becomes difficult. But depending on your purpose of learning it, the duration would change. And whether you want to learn it for your professional purpose or you just want to learn it as a hobby, that also matters. So now again here comes into your course, how it is designed, how it is developed, who is going to teach you, how effective it is. So those parameters also are backed up for learning these languages, and the duration will differ from 600 hours or even for 60 hours as well, depending on your purpose of learning it.
Got it. So now, if someone has to start, so let's take one persona,
Yeah.
IT professional, as you
Correct.
said,
Correct.
looking for an improvement in the career,
Right.
improvement in the remuneration, wanting to work with international clients, or wanting to go abroad
Correct.
to pursue the next leg of
Right.
their career, right? So that's
Correct.
one persona.
Right.
How should they start? Where should they start from?
Okay. So I normally say 3 steps. The first step is you should define your goal of learning language. Why I say is because it should be realistic. So example, the IT person who wants to learn a language. So why he wants to learn a language? Okay, so there is a project which is coming up, or you're looking for a job change, or it is just I am planning to shift, migrate to another country because I have already got my visa done, but now I'm migrating there and I want to look for more opportunities there. So that is particular goal, realistic goal you have to set. So if I take a one person and if he or she wants to learn a language, example Japanese language. So I want to learn Japanese language because I love Japanese and I love watching animes. Okay, so that is very unrealistic goal. But if you have a set up a very realistic goal, then you have a duration also attached to it. So even IT person who wants to learn a language, it's only level 1 now you want to do, level 2 you want to do, or you want to have a efficiency or a expert in, sorry, you want to be expert in that language. So you, if you know that I want to do B1 level in that, then your duration also set. So step 1, setting up the realistic goal for yourself that ultimately is going to decide your duration.
Yeah.
Right?
Correct.
So that is the first step. Second step, you're already motivated. That's why you are deciding what you want to do. So immediately you enroll yourself for this language program because your motivation might die soon. So second step, enroll yourself immediately. And third step, I always say, commit a habit of 15 minutes every day.
15, 1 5.
15 minutes every day to read, write, listen, or speak that particular language. A word will also do because frequency beats your duration. So
Correct.
if you do that, you will be able to grasp quickly and faster. So it completely depends again, So if you take an example of someone, that's why, told you. First step is decide your realistic goal, which level you want to do, why you want to do, and by when you want to do. So duration will come in. Second step, enroll yourself because there is someone to guide you, someone to ask you, what you have done, what you have not done, that way. And third step is your own commitment.
All right, let's take another persona, this time of a student. Irrespective of what category of student that is. But let's just take one student. Underlying purpose wants to go abroad, higher education, and then potentially settle down there for the long run. What should be the first step for them?
Okay, first step, start enroll yourself immediately. In case if you have a clear goal to go abroad, any particular country, if you're selected, select that country and select the language for that country, enroll yourself, start learning, and do minimum B1 level
Of that language.
of that language or 3 levels because European language have different levels, Asian language has a different level. So at least do minimum 3 levels. Commit yourself for 3 levels because 3 levels means you are into intermediate stage. So what happens in intermediate stage? You are already ready for the working industry. So if somebody wants to approach you for a job, if you want to approach someone for a job, you are already ready. If you want to go for a higher studies and you want to gain or earn any scholarships from any universities, then you're still ready with this language levels. And if you want to support it for your visa or migration, still these points will be calculated in B till third level. So you must start immediately. So irrespective of your age, and if you are thinking to go abroad and you have a clear vision to go abroad, start immediately. Do a minimum 3 levels in any languages which you have chosen.
I have a follow-on question to that. From India, and I'm purely thinking from a student's mind. From India, when I'm deciding that, okay, I want to go out of India, there are 4-5 countries that are very common, right? US, Canada, UK, now Germany, Australia, New Zealand, France, UK, all of these are coming up, right? Everything looks enticing. I, as a student, want to go to every country. It's practically not possible.
Not possible.
So if I have to decide
Huh.
where do I want to go, how should I decide that? How should I take that decision of which language to select to learn that language and then potentially reach that country?
Okay, see, this question is more very personal when it comes to the choice of my career, right? So irrespective of any career you choose, learn one foreign language.
Before we go there, should it be preferably a European language?
No, not necessary.
Not
So,
necessary.
example, if I am a AI person, I know robotics, then I should learn Japanese. However, however, there will be lot of companies like French companies or European companies or English speaking countries companies who have their presence all over the world.
Correct.
Correct. So, example, if I know French language, so am I in France to work?
Probably no.
No, I am here in India.
Correct.
Still, I am making money as a profession, as a business owner, or as a trainer, or as a teacher as well, right?
Yeah.
So it is not necessary for you to choose
Country
particular
first and language later.
country and then your profession, and then you want to mold yourself there. Any language you learn, you will definitely end up in going to the country you have chosen for. Why I say is, so example, if I want to go to France and if I have learned German language, there will be so many students in France who also learn German. If I know my English well, if I have done my IELTS well, TOEFL, I am at certain level in English language, I can still go and work in France by teaching English
English.
language to the kids.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Another
yes.
thing, another thing is there are some of the MNCs who are sitting there. They do not know English language, so they will prefer you as a professional who knows English and as well as their own language. So if you see, do not restrict yourself by country. Learn a language which fascinates you. So, if you talk about the statistics and all, French and German are the most learned language in
Right.
India.
Yeah.
So, you can choose one of them. I'm not saying that. But, however, if you want to learn Korean, you can still go to Korea, or you can still go to another part of the world who can still take you as a language expert for their own requirement to talk to their foreign clients who are sitting in Korea, probably, right? So you should not be deciding as such, this if I want to go to this country, I should or must learn this language. However, if you have decided, if you want to go to Germany, then learn German. But I think it is very dicey to understand, to choose a country first and then choose a
Decide the
language.
language, yeah.
Decide the language. If you want to learn a language, start learning a language. Choose any one of them. Start learning. You will definitely end up the country you want to be in. Definitely, yes. That is my experience. I have students who have learned German language, French language, and Japanese language, and they have bagged the scholarship from USA universities. So
Wow.
it doesn't matter.
It does not matter.
It does not matter.
Correct.
So if you say that I have to go to UK only, or I have to go to USA, and I don't want to learn French, German. It is English only there. But their chances of getting selected went higher because of these languages. So if you see, it is a different game altogether here. So start learning a language and then let it fall as it goes, I would say.
No, you're right. I have seen a lot of people, and this was way back, about 10, 12 years back. There was this sudden boom. A lot of Americans started traveling towards Southeast Asia, countries like Korea, China, Japan, Vietnam, and they started training English there because the levels of English were not really good there. And through just by teaching English,
Right.
they really established themselves,
Themselves. Correct.
financially, and they had a lot of visibility on the internet also.
Exactly.
So you're right.
True.
So
Yeah.
now the third persona is of a family. Say they're about 35 to 40 years of age group, couple of kids, well settled job, but now they're like, let's go abroad. Let's go and settle down in another country. What are the first 2 or 3 steps for them?
As you mentioned, is a family and they have kids. So it is a big decision when you migrate somewhere. And first of all, when you go to any other country, like the language, culture, everything comes into picture. So when you learn a language, you do not only learn on language, you learn their culture, their music, their tradition, everything, their festivals, everything. So to get settled, to minimize that transition period of getting settled with your kids and the new city, new country, you must enroll your kids first for the language learning, because they starts getting to know about the language, the culture and the tradition, because as a human being you already settled, you have a life experience.
Right.
So you know how to settle down in a country where you are planning to go. But you as a person also, you should start learning a language with them. But for kids, it is a big jump. So first of all, make your kids comfortable with the not only language, I would say, with the culture, the traditions, what are the stereotypes which they have. So if I already know about it as a kid, it will be easy for me to get into, making the friends easily, and getting, talking to people easily, not feeling secluded in new country. So first priority is kids. So enroll them for the language learning. And then there are different kind of learning programs are there, language learning programs. So it is not the level here now. It is about more of customized one. So I know this family is going. So I need to make the language in a such a way that the course of this particular language learning in a such a way that in the parents are also involved, the parents also are learning, kids are also learning how kids level, what kind of games they play in that country, because games also is going to be a big change for them. So we introduce the games to the kids. We also introduce the different kind of culture, traditions, and festivals to them. So overall, we are making them prepared to get into a new country, right? So it is all customized here. Then, so here it is more of getting to know about that particular country. So we have designed such kind of courses as well. So in such situations, if you're looking for a family migration, then should be first thing they should do. If you already have a job there, then nothing to worry about it. If you already visa and all, nothing to worry. If you're looking for visa points, or sorry, the migration points, we have a system, right? The point
Right.
system. Then you as a parent must know certain level of language. So you must do certain level of language, which will help you to get a better opportunity there that way. But yeah, when it comes to family, kids come first.
So, what is that one message that you have for everyone listening to this show about learning a foreign language?
Okay. If I could give one thought, it would be this. Um, Language learning is not just about learning a word, it is learning a new culture, and it actually gives you a lens to look into that country differently, to look the world differently. And also, it gives you a lot of confidence, that lies with you for a life. So it is always important that you start learning at any age, any time, and keep learning, keep growing. And remember that even a word, if you learn today, it is going to make a breach for you tomorrow.
Absolutely.
So happy learning, I would say.
Happy learning. So, thank you, Darshana. This was indeed a lovely conversation.
Right.
In the next episode, we will be speaking about the learners, their mindset, their journey,
Right.
and so on and so forth.
Yes.
But till then, don't forget to follow us wherever you're listening or watching this episode. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop them down in the comments. The email ID that you can reach out to is also mentioned in the description of this episodes. Feel free to connect, share your questions and doubts. And as Darshana said, happy learning.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time.